messy action sometimes is the best action because you're learning, you're building, you're creating, and you need to fall on your butt sometimes in order to learn a lesson.
No, it's never been the right time. Like we're holding back the storyline. And I'm waiting at the end of the night, thinking of you.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Call Your Mom podcast. So this week, it is my birthday. It's actually today.
Happy birthday!
Yay! I'm turning 28 years old. So we have like a special episode in the works here. And so we're really excited you're here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about like some things that I went through, throughout the last year, as well as like the transition from being in my like mid 20s to my late 20s and now heading into my 30s, which is kind of crazy. I'm just 2 years away from 30, and that feels a little surreal.
You're still a baby, though. You're just a baby.
All those memes online about like 90s babies and 30s knocking is so funny.
You're not finding that so funny anymore.
No.
I'm really excited about this episode because I think you have a lot of advice to share with, especially women going from, their early 20s to their mid 20s, and now you're in your late 20s. And I'm really excited to ask you questions about things that you've learned over this last year, and maybe even from your early 20s to now. So,
yeah. So just to kind of dive in, this last year has been like a lot for me. I started a new business. I did have a podcast with my business mentor about that. We started this podcast. My husband went back to playing baseball and I got to travel a lot with that. So it was kind of a big year and a lot of different changes between last year at my birthday time and this year at my birthday time. And the work and dedication that I put in to like make certain things happen. And also the lessons I learned along the way, especially when deciding like from my mid 20s and early 20s to now, it was a lot of career decisions, relationship decisions, friendship decisions that actually, I didn't a lot of them I didn't expect. When you look back at your life, you don't sit there and you're like, I expect it to go a certain way. And it normally doesn't. But would I trade it for the world? No, I love it. I'm having so much fun. And this year has completely transformed my whole life. So I'm very grateful.
well, I've seen you grow a lot this year. I've seen you embrace like challenges in a way I've never seen you do that, and really just embrace the change that's come your way. And I feel like you've done it with grace and just excitement about like not being able to control what's happening, like the future. You don't really know what's going to happen next, kind of, but what you can control, you have. And I'm really proud of you for that because I've really seen you grow in that area of your life, especially because you're a planner.
Thanks, Mom.
Yeah. So I say we dive right into these questions and let's see what kind of advice you can give.
I just need to give a shout out to the type A girls out there who do understand what it feels like to plan your life and then get hit by a bus on the side.
Okay, but the world needs you guys. I need you guys because I'm not that person.
Yeah, just depends on what it is. But sometimes, what's that saying? Shit hits the fan.
Yeah, it does. Nothing else you can do but just go with the flow.
Okay, what are the questions?
All
And
right.
just preface, I don't know any of the questions.
No, I did not share these with her. These answers are going to just come from her heart. All right, so here we go. Was there a specific light bulb moment that changed how you see yourself or others?
Yes, absolutely. If you listened to my business mentors podcast just recently, I talked about a light bulb moment for me, which was values that allowed me to see my friends differently, allowed me to see myself differently. And it made me think about the things that I actually want in life versus just kind of going along with things and then feeling out what everyone else wants and then creating a life based off what everyone else wants not what I want. And I think a lot of women, especially if you're a people pleaser, and I think all of us are people pleasers at one time or not, um, you tend to want to take care of everyone else before you take care of yourself. So my light bulb moment was when my mentor, she was like, "What are your values?" And I was like, "I don't know. I don't know anything about my values." And she goes, "Well, I try to encourage a lot of girls when you decide on your values, you can then build a business, build a life, build a podcast, build whatever you want to build around those values." So for me, my values were friendship, family, and financial. So there's I'll give you the other ones too. There was career, there was spiritual, there was health, and then there was obviously one I forgot and I seem to not remember. That one wasn't important to me. But the family, friends, and financial were really important to me. And so when it came to my time, I looked at my values and I was able to start to, well, not create, start to build out time for those, uh, and not over my working myself in other areas.
That's a place I've really seen you grow this year, is not allowing other people's expectations to get in the way of what you want to do. And I think that's so important for young women to hear, because a lot of times, like you said, we put other people first, we put what they want or expect of us first, and then we forget about ourselves, and we forget about what it is that we want. And I feel like I've really seen you grow in that area this year, and it's been really just awesome to watch.
Thank you. I would say too, from my mid 20s to my early 20s, or my early 20s to my mid 20s to now, very different values. Your values will absolutely change. But did I know my values when I was younger? No, I would say I didn't create a life based off that. I just ran with things. And when an opportunity presented itself, I was just like, oh, this looks great. Let's just do it. Instead of actually like visualizing what I want for my life and then going after that. And I think a lot of women miss that because we take care of everyone else. Whether that's like, a parent or siblings, when you're younger, all the way up to you grow up, you're taking care of children and your spouse. And I think stepping into, hey, what do you actually want? And my light bulb moment was actually really in the shower one day. And I was like,
All good things come when all good ideas come in the shower, right? Like you're
yeah,
washing your hair and it's like, what?
what? I was really washing my hair actually. I was like, what movies do I like?
I remember having this conversation with you.
And I sat there and I was like, I don't think the last time I asked myself what my favorite things were. And this was after the values conversation because I realized I was building a life out of nothing I wanted. The only thing I really, really loved and chased after was obviously Johnny and, my family, but like what I actually wanted. And then I started asking myself what I liked. Like, I don't remember asking myself what I liked. And that was kind of crazy to think about because I was like, okay, I like Star Wars. I like Harry Potter. Those are movies I watch over and over again. Um, and so it was just very interesting to finally like ask myself what I like. And a lot of women, I don't think we do that. I don't think we stop to say, hey, I actually like this and like your favorite things.
Yeah. Or to reevaluate. I mean, what you liked younger isn't what you're going to like later. There's a lot of things that I used to like that I don't like anymore. Or maybe I thought I liked because someone told me I should like them and I really don't. Or who I thought I was, and because someone told me that's who I am, I stuck with that version of myself, but then I outgrew it and realized, wait a minute, that isn't who I am. So I think the piece of advice here, right, is to get to know yourself
Yep.
and to kind of reevaluate yourself every so often and see if where you're headed and what you like is what you want.
Yeah, because you always get the advice of vision boards. And I've always had trouble with vision boards because, you go through a magazine and you see all these things, right? And it's not like, okay, that's great. I visualize a puppy and I visualize but like, who do I want to be and what kind of legacy do I want to leave behind? And how do I want to spend my time and who do I want to spend my time with? Do I really want to be stuck in this race of working 60 hours a week and being exhausted all the time and not enjoying any of the things I like? No, I don't. And that was the biggest light bulb because I was like, I know what I want now. And a lot of women, we don't ask ourselves that.
I love that. I love that advice. All right, so let's move on to the next one. What's one thing you've learned being married that you could give advice for other women in romantic relationships that you'd want to pass along?
Oh gosh, there's a lot, ladies. Marriage is hard.
Okay, the first probably year, she would always come to me and be like, marriage is a no joke. That was her line.
But I love marriage and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Honestly, Johnny is my best friend in the whole entire world. He knows me better than probably anyone. And it's really funny. I can read him from the field every time I see him. So I know he's in a bad mood before he's ever in a bad mood. But my piece of advice here would be definitely communication. I know that sounds silly and cliche because a lot of people say communication, but there's so many different ways to communicate with your spouse. And one specific area that I really needed to work on this last year was one, not taking control of the whole conversation and actually slowing things down and allowing my husband to speak. Cause like he was on A and I was on Z and he would be like overwhelmed.
I've witnessed that a couple times.
So sometimes you gotta slow down, and then also not assuming things. I think, and this applies to friendships as well, we tend to make up stories in our heads and just assume things about people without actually having a conversation or asking them about it. And that has definitely happened multiple times to me this year. Assuming something about Johnny's thinking or what Johnny's doing, and he's not doing that at all, and he's doing quite the opposite, but I didn't have a conversation with him and my expectation was this and I assumed this, but really if I just would have had a conversation with him, it's just like my birthday. Like my birthday is a great example of
Okay,
this.
yeah, absolutely.
So I'm a control freak a little bit. And my husband over the years would do certain things, right? And my expectation level was, a certain way. But my husband had never dated anyone before, right? So him figuring out how to do the birthday thing was really hard, and he didn't understand the flowers, the coffee in the morning, the cookies. Well, you know what? 7 years later into this relationship, I didn't say anything to this man this time. I said nothing. I just was kind of excited. And he went and did the donuts. He got me a squishmallow. He got me, uh Starbucks. He got me, um, flowers, the Aura ring, all these things, and I woke up and he was so excited and it was amazing. But, like, communicating that over the years about what I wanted, and then also allowing him to get creative and not just being like, "This is what I wanted." No, allow him to get creative, and I had to learn that. So, that's something. That's a little bit of a vulnerable piece for me.
Yeah, so letting the other person be who they are, to put a little bit of sprinkle into what they want to do to love you and
Yes.
not just controlling how they love you, but communicating, hey, this is what I like, but letting them have a creative part in how they do that.
Yep, and even in your arguments, your conversations every single day, you'll be surprised what your spouse comes up with, and you're like, "What?" It's like collaboration in business. You go back and forth, and then ideas are sparked together, and that's the beauty, and that's how I think amazing things happen and amazing relationships happen.
I agree. And so basically, to sum it all up, we're not mind readers. Your boyfriend or husband isn't a mind reader, and you're not a mind reader. So communicate, communicate, communicate.
We love the mind reading, don't we, as women?
My gosh, we love mind reading when it comes to friendships, when it comes to relationships, when it comes to our family. We think we know what everyone's thinking, doing, what they're going to say, why they did what they did. We have a story for everything because we're reading their minds.
We are. And I did, yeah, it applies to friendships too. I mean, if I just assumed something about someone, what if they were thinking something completely opposite? and I didn't just communicate with that person. How awful, you'd lose a friendship.
Yeah, I mean, that's happened to me where I thought someone meant something one way because I was making up a story, and then turns out they didn't mean it that way at all. I mean, I didn't lose the friendship, but you just got to give people a chance to communicate.
Yeah, I think a lot of people forgot about that. Communication.
Yeah, communication. Speaking of communication, I'm going to communicate the next question here. What's the best piece of advice someone gave you this year that you will carry into next year?
Oh gosh. Okay, I've had so much good advice given to me this year. Okay, so I already expressed the values. Okay, I guess I'll say this one. This one actually came from my dad, believe it or not. My dad, when I started my business, said, and it kind of came from Megan a little bit. He said, "Just say yes and figure it out later."
I love that advice. Absolutely.
And it not just applies to business, it applies to life as well. I think a lot of times we do things, and prepare, 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 and we don't just say yes to things and just have fun and just relax. And I definitely had to learn that because I'm a big planner, and most of the times, unplanned things are the most fun. When it's just spontaneous, you're just like, "Hey, let's go grab coffee. Let's go to random spin class. Let's go on a random vacation last minute and rent a cabin in the woods." I don't know what it is, but when you just say yes and figure it out later, a lot of things fall in line. And that happened with me in business, but that also happened with me with this podcast. It happened with me with friendships, with events, right? And it's led to so much good.
It happened to you with your husband.
It did.
Yeah,
It
when you
did.
met him, you were like, "Oh, I don't know." And look, you said yes, and it's been the best adventure ever.
You know what? That's actually funny you say that because I did not. Jenna was like, "But don't worry about his age. Just have fun." I'm like, "He's literally younger than my little brother." Stevie was 19 and Johnny was 18 when I met him.
Right. I
And I
forgot.
was like, "This is weird." Yeah, I said, what did I say on my date? First date? Oh, I said, "I'm just gonna go practice."
Yes. Uh-huh.
Yeah,
And look at now.
I'm still practicing. He's on a trial run. We always joke with our parents. When was the return policy?
Yeah, is the return policy expired? Johnny says that to me all the time. He's always kidding.
I know. Yeah, we're always joking, but no, really it is, in the long run. Say yes and figure it out later.
Yeah, I always say for me, I'm like, you know what, just do the thing because even if it's not your thing, it may lead you to the thing that is your thing. So just say yes and try and find out. But I think, like you said, we prepare, and then we make all these plans to do something, but then we tell our story in our head of what it's going to be like, and then we talk ourselves out of it, something that might have been really great. And so I say yes, like that movie, Yes Man.
Yes, man. Well, it's something you also say all the time is messy action. And Megan has said that to me as well. A lot of people don't take messy action, and messy action leads to mistakes. Mistakes lead to learning. Learning leads to building. Building leads to an empire. So if whether that's your career or relationship, whatever it is, messy action sometimes is the best action because you're learning, you're building, you're creating, and you need to fall on your butt sometimes in order to learn a lesson. And that's in anything in life. And the faster you can figure out how to fail, and I know that's cliche and that's all over the internet, but it is really true. The faster you learn how to fail, and then the faster you turn around and say, "Okay, what I learned from that," the faster you get results in whatever you are. And don't forget that you need to take a step back in order to step 5 steps forward. Because for me, I didn't wanna take a step back at first, and then I was like, "I have to move backwards in order to move forward." And all of this goes together, right? 'Cause I mean, you gotta take the messy action. You gotta just say yes and do the messy action. And sometimes that messy action is 5 steps backwards, and that's okay to take a pause, to hustle, to do whatever it is you need to do, even if it's a relationship. Maybe you're in a relationship and you guys move too fast. Maybe that's taking 10 steps back and setting your expectations. Whatever it is, or maybe that's dating in general. Maybe you need to get off the platform, and this 5 steps backwards is you actually doing self-care, you actually taking care of yourself. So whatever that may be, say yes to you, bet on yourself, take the messy action, and then you won't believe where you're at and when you're
Yeah, I totally agree. I feel like failure is always a lesson. And I think a lot of times we live in fear of failure because we're afraid of what other people will think. And I think that's something I've really watched you break out of is learning to just take the messy action, not care what other people are thinking because opinion is the cheapest form of criticism, and to just move forward and take action. And if you mess up, well, it's a lesson, right? And you can move forward and learn from that and create something even better.
100%.
All right.
I love that.
So good. All right. So this is our last question, and I think it's really important. How would you finish this sentence? In my next year, I want to be more. I feel like because 2025 is coming, it's like,
Yeah, it's like preparing.
yeah,
I would choose I know it sounds funny. I don't know. I think I would choose to be more like this is gonna sound so funny, but like detailed oriented. And I mean in like and I because I don't wanna say I hate to toot my own turn, but I'm a very kind person. I'm very giving, very loving, but something I lack in and I've lacked in the last few years is detailed to relationships. And so that's what I mean by detailed oriented. I'm very detailed at work, I'm very organized at work, but in relationships, specific in friendships, I feel like I could be more detailed in like reaching out more often, um, being more a part of people's lives by asking them specific questions and then celebrating them more. I am big at celebrating people, but not just like the big things like a birthday. Like I think I want more community and more celebrating the little things in life, whether that's a small win, a big win. I really want to celebrate other women and see them really thrive. And that's part of this podcast, right? And I think just being more detailed just in my relationships. So that's what I mean by detail oriented.
all right. So you want to be more detail oriented in pretty much every area of your life, is what you're saying.
Yeah, but really in friendships, I think. Yeah, because in the last year, I think I had to like steak. Am I thinking about my dinner tonight?
I think you are. I think you're thinking about where we're going to eat.
I had to take a little bit of a step back because I was so busy, is what I meant to stay. You guys, I don't think my coffee was strong enough. Jonathan,
Should have been triple shot espresso.
I'm just joking. Yeah, but I would say that because I am a giving, loving person. Because those were the first things that came to my mind. But I feel like it's more specific than that.
All right. Well, I love all the advice you gave. I think that it's so applicable to every area of anyone's life, no matter what age they are. But I think it's so true how I've watched you grow from being young 20s to your late 20s and as you're heading into your 30s. Um, I just think that everything that you've said is just so helpful. It's just true, it's real, it's helpful, and it's useful.
Yay, I like this. Wait, I want you to answer the last question because we are going into 2025. I think it might be cool.
So, how would I finish the sentence? In my next year, I want to be more. What do I want to be more of? In my next year, I want to be more bold. I want to be more bold in taking chances in meeting new people and accomplishing things that I've really been wanting to accomplish. I think a lot of times I kind of put the things I want to do on the back burner, and I tend to put other people first. And that's kind of it's a given, it's like a back and forth for me. So I think a lot of times it can be easy for me to forget that I have things that I want to accomplish and that I want to do. So this year I want to be more bold by showing up on my social media more, sharing more of my writing, accomplishing the goals that I'd like to accomplish, and helping other people want to do that too, to speak into their lives more. And I feel like our podcast, we are doing that. So that's kind of cool. And I feel like also just meeting other people. I would like to do that. I kind of get, I'm an extrovert. I say I'm shy, but I think it's more on the one-on-one level, maybe, maybe not. She says no, but I just want to meet new people and have new experiences. So just maybe step into areas and people in areas that I feel a little uncomfortable with.
I like that. I like that. I think, that relates to a lot of people because, sometimes it's hard to, like, get out of your shell and go meet new people and do those things. It's scary. It's a scary thought. And I've been there where because 'cause I'm definitely more introverted than you.
I don't know why I keep saying I'm introverted. I literally talk
To
to
everybody.
everybody.
Everyone. I have stories, like this one time when we were in London and my mom made friends with the bartender first, and he's like, "Try this really amazing banana drink thing."
Oh, and it was
He
like,
was like, "Isn't it amazing? And it's the most expensive thing in the menu." And yeah, of course, my mom made friends with the bartender, and we got drinks all night long. Then she made friends with these other 2 people from London that were sitting next to us at the bar.
hey, well, I'm still friends with one of them on or Instagram. So, you know, I,
This is what I'm talking about. And then she, like, feeds off it. You like it. You like to talk to people, which is amazing. I wish I was more like that. My younger brother is like that. He's even more than my mom. Very introverted, like, he gets excited to be around people, like, I'm like, some days, like, it's really hard for me to text people back in my head. I overthink it. I'm like, "Okay, if I text them back, then I have to come up with another response when they text me back again." And that makes me nervous. I'm not even kidding you.
well, I just learned something new about you today that I had no idea about. So I just think for me, I would just sum up that I just want to I want more of being comfortable with getting uncomfortable. That would be what I want more of.
Okay, I love it. Okay. This was a great episode. Okay, we have to ask a few questions, and you guys gotta let us know, okay? How would you answer the last question? We're gonna have mom read it real quick one more time.
So, how would you answer this? In your next year, what do you want to be more of? Like, what do you want more of, or who do you want to be more of? Like, what do you want more of?
Yeah, leave it in the comment section below. We wanna know. Or send us a DM on Instagram.
Yes, absolutely.
Either one, we would love to encourage you and walk with you through that and all that fun stuff. And also let us know if you're introvert or extrovert, or if I'm the only one on the planet who thinks about how I have to respond after someone responds.
That's a great question.
So we know.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. And thank you for the birthday, spending my birthday with me, everyone.
Happy birthday to you. And
Thank
if you
you.
liked this episode, share it with a friend and like and subscribe, hit those buttons, and join us on Instagram. We would love if you could follow us and yeah, send us a DM.
And in this place, you're never alone. You can always call your mom.